welcome to the Nordic Takedown podcast episode something. I think it's 12
Hello.
or 11. Hello. Today we have a returning, not guest anymore. Now it's host,
Whoa.
Jonah from Norway. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. Happy to be back, and of course, happy to be joining as a co-host. So I'm gonna be here when I can and when it fits.
Yeah, that is how it's gonna be now. Jason is still out. Fun Daddy is out. He's still committed. He is still important to the podcast. We have not banished him. He is doing the editing behind the scenes. But he, as all know who listened last time, he went through quite a bit to be able to play the Store Showdown in Skövde this Sunday. And that solution still requires some sacrifice. So that's why he's not joining us today.
Yeah.
And Matthias is doing something else as well. He has deserved a break.
Yeah.
So, Jonah, what have you been up to?
I'm based in Trondheim, so sadly I was not able to join the showdown in Skövde.
Yep.
But I've been playing a lot of Star Wars Unlimited. I'm a student, so I actually get to manage my time the way I want to, and also fit in some games. So as I said last time, I play a lot online, mostly on Tabletop Simulator, but now also a little bit on Carabast.
Yep.
I feel like they've made some really good patches there, and it's really nice to use, in my opinion.
True.
As I mentioned last time, I started to look into Cunning Vigilance hard control decks, and I've been playing a lot of Boba Blue, but it's been so rough because I'm always going back and forth. Is this a good deck? It's not. Oh no, it's really good. It's I kind of feel like it's hit or miss in some sense.
Or do you have a problem playing villain decks, or is it just because you consider yourself a hero? Or
no, not really.
Or is it just that you're playing such a good and broken deck in Han Green that when you touch anything else, it's like, this feels mediocre?
I mean, of course you get spoiled, but I think it's super fun just to have a completely different game plan with the milling.
Yep.
And more focusing on just survival in the beginning. But it's also really brutal when you don't draw the cards you need or just get overpowered by Sabine.
Yeah, it's sort of harder to manipulate a bad hand compared to maybe Han usually have a couple of options. It's like maybe not the ideal stuff, but when you're playing control, sometimes you need the exact right card.
Yeah.
And for me, like I've also been playing like quite a lot of Boba Blue before. I fear the mirror,
Yeah.
Like the control mirrors in the best of 3. How boring is that? Like,
to be honest, I actually enjoy those because it's just a game of chicken, and it's all about having
game 1
the tools.
And
Boba kind of has that with the 3 bounty on the cruise, but I've realized that might not be enough in the control mirror, because I, for instance, played against the blue Palpatine. And he had 3 sparks in the side, relentless, bounty hunter cruise out of aspect. It was crazy. He had so much for the control mirror, and my sideboard was just 10 cards for aggro, right?
Yep.
So after game 1, I had no chance.
So you won game 1 and then got...
I lost game 1.
So you couldn't build a game plan on game 1 and go long, so it became like
no, I mean,
out of time.
When I play online, we don't play with time regardless. So
Yeah, that is not the way online. So
Yeah.
it's the control haven, I guess.
Yeah.
If you want, if you
Or
want.
Control Hell, where you hold people hostage for like 1 hour plus games.
Yeah, like every time I've tried to play on Carabast and like have this amazing hand with like either Krennic or Boba for like no, not yeah Boba for like removal. The the Sabine players or Boba players like just says fuck control, and then basically once just quits.
Disconnects, yeah.
Yeah, after 4 rounds. Um, when they like every threat has been removed and then Boba lands or Krennic lands and it's like 2 damage on base or something, and they are kind of forced to start playing
Yeah.
Spark of Rebellion.
But to be honest, at that point, you maybe already won, so it's fine with them conceding. But it's
Yeah.
boring when you don't get to play it out, of course.
Yeah, sometimes you need to play it out because your cards are starting to run out, and you have you have few ways to, even when you have taken control, to like punch through the base. So it's gonna be like 8 rounds before you do that.
Yeah.
So, but I get it. I could like, I see their point of view as well. Like it's not that fun to play against. Everyone don't enjoy playing against control.
Yeah.
I'm kind of one of those players myself. So
yeah, at least you don't concede after turn 4.
Didn't I? Just today.
No. Scratch that.
Yeah.
But what have you been playing? Different decks since last time.
Let's see. Since last time, like, let's see. Then we were talking a lot about. I was still on the blue Boba train a bit. I abandoned that because Green Han was not fun to play against. One of the reasons. I still have the deck built. I might bring it out, but I was preparing for the Store Showdown in Skövde. I was actually moving back to Green Boba again until you and I tested some Krennic on Friday.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, maybe I just run this. So now I've been playing a bit more Krennic. I think he's the build that we found. Like we're no geniuses. We have like been inspired of others before, but like the build we made was actually very good against aggro and very good against mid range, and has some sideboard answers for control, which made it feel pretty good to play. I did have a little bit of a wrong reading on the meta for the showdown, but I thought it was going to be more mid range, which should have been better for Krennic, but it was like different decks than I expected, but it still worked out okay.
So you picked up Krennic, played him for 2 days, and then met up with Matthias and Jason, right?
Yes, we all 3. I was going to say all 3 of the podcast, but 3 out of 4 of the podcast now was attending the Skövde Store Showdown. It unfortunately was landed on like a Sunday and on Mother's Day in Sweden, so it did not get the attendance probably that it could have. Like sometimes they have more even on weekly play. So because we were like 13 people in the end, it was still very well organized. That was not the issue. I think it was actually like they had the instruction that they had to be doing it in May, so so they had to pick a date. They also wanted to compete like the store owners, so
cool.
So that was fun. So I brought Krennic to that tournament. Jason brought Leia Green, and Matthias went with
double green?
Sorry, Leia Red.
Yeah. Tarkentown?
Tarkentown indeed, right? Yeah. And Matthias went ECL Boba.
Nice. Yeah, and how was it there? Was that Manatorsk, right?
Yeah, Manatorsk it was. Let's see, like it was planned to be a 5 rounds of Swiss and a top 8, but since we were a bit fewer people, we went for 4 rounds of Swiss and top 8
Yeah.
to make it a lot more casual, and like it's fun to get more people into the top cut. Sometimes these people like that goes 2 and 2, 3 and 3s in tournaments like usually don't make top cuts. So
Yeah.
I think they wanted to give an incentive for like players to keep playing these tournaments, because like
Yeah.
the tournaments becomes cool because there is a lot of people playing them, not just
Yeah.
because there is the same guys competing in the top, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how we lined up. So I can't speak for the other players like rounds now, but both Jason and Matthias went to the top 8 at least.
Yeah.
They
Nice.
got knocked out in separate quarters, of course, because they went out, went out at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I can talk more about my rounds. And I started with facing Jason in game 1,
Ooh.
which was fun. Not for him, but it was fun. So it was like I played the Krennic Green, of course, and they played. He played the red layer. Red layer. Yeah, I needed that. I needed 10 seconds. I always say green layer,
Yeah.
but red layer. It was also streamed because
Yeah.
the Nordic Takedown podcast and Jason, primarily because he's our tech guy, set up the stream for the whole tournament. I think you could see all the way to the finals,
Yeah.
which was nice. It's not every Store Showdown that has done this, and it was best of 3 all the way, both playoffs and the group stage. So we played a fairly close series because it was 2-1 to me. I had one. So I went 1-0 like first, and we
Yeah.
went into game 2, and I had like a very good controlly start. I just removed his units, and like in round 5 or 6, I was like, I'm so gonna win this, you know. Like
Mm.
he has no units on board. He's done barely any damage, and then suddenly like there started to creep up some units, and like he got the initiative and stuff, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Leia get to hit 2 at the same time. So it started to get a little bit more damage, and so he actually took game 2, and then game 3
Nice.
was really close. I thought it wasn't as close as I thought, because he was forced to play like for a cause I believe in early in the game,
Yeah.
and the game dried out, and like he played another 2 for a causes, and
Damn.
I forgot that he had played the first one like in the round 3 or something.
Ah,
So
I see.
he was like around 4 or 5 HP from killing me, and I was like, if he just draws this for a cost, I'm losing. So I just removed everything. I was scared about like
Yeah.
overcommitting for him playing a unit, like because he has also Ewing reinforcements in the deck.
Yeah.
But in the end, I won it, and then he was like, "No, I've already played all 3," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I did not need to play this way."
Yeah.
So that was fun.
At least it worked out.
It worked out, and if I had lost to him, it would not have been end of the world.
Yeah.
Game 2, I was remained seated on the stream and got to face another Leia Green, Leia Red.
There you go.
There we go. Which was I think he was the winner of the first like big tournament Skövde had in Sweden that they organized themselves.
Nice.
And at that time he played Krennic. Now I played Krennic. And those were also 2, like one of the games were really close, went down to like 3 damage, and he was searching for a cause, and I just locked that one out. And then game 2 I just smashed him with like some lucky control draws.
Nice.
Game 3 I actually played my first competitive game that went to time.
Wow.
And I've been like on like quite many tournaments now, like for being this early in the game.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised. It was against Vader Green, and like I won game 1, and that took 40 minutes.
Damn.
like he had so much gas in like late game gas in his deck. I think he ran
Yeah.
3 walkers, double devastators, and like I'm not sure if he had like 3 relentless in main deck.
Yeah.
Um,
And the Ruthless Raiders are really annoying
yes,
as well.
and the ruthless raiders. So it was like, and then I also have the big Vader to deal with.
Yeah.
Like compared to
And
my
the small Vaders.
yeah, and the small Vaders, and I have my weeny little Tarkin that is not as
Yeah.
impactful.
Yeah.
So I was like, after game 1, I was like, took 40 minutes, and I was like, all right, this is going to be a 1-0 victory for me. We are not going to be able to play this out. But
Yeah.
with like 7 minutes left, he managed to beat me in game 2.
Damn.
And then we tried, at least I really tried to play fast in game 3. I think I would have won, but there was like not enough time
Yeah.
to play it out. I think I needed one more round or something.
Oh. Damn,
Because
but
I
you
had
really
like
played fast.
because I had an Avenger out, and I was like kind of like forcing him to play a little bit faster because
Yeah.
nobody wants a draw, right? Yeah, he should not have wanted a draw because he was like 1 win and 1 draw at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
So he ended up like at 1 win 2 draws, and I was like 2 wins 1 draw.
Yeah.
And then for game 4, I played Sabine yellow. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of aggro, and I had hoped it was going to be more mid-rangey, like beating Bobas and stuff, but there was only
Yeah.
one Boba in the tournament, and that was Matthias.
Yeah.
But I managed to win that 2-0 as well.
Interesting.
The
Do
yellow...
you think it's a good matchup against Yellow Sabine?
I think it's okay, actually quite good for Krennic, because it has a lot of removal, and
Yeah.
can, like, Krennic himself puts healing,
Yeah.
and the 30 HP base does nothing in the matchup.
Yeah.
Like Tarkin Town and Leia like can kill my Concertum Star Viper when he goes out.
Yeah.
It kills like what's his name, the Steadfast Battalion,
Steadfast. Yeah.
as soon as it enters the board, so they like clear back, but the yellow 30 base does nothing.
That's true.
So like the only thing I really need to be super worried about is like the sneak attacks, sneak attack K2SO, doing quite a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So that felt pretty okay. Even though that they can like hit like crazy if it.
Yeah. Especially if you don't have any answers to space.
Yeah.
But you probably have, right, with removal, barrage, and
The Krennic
play
at least
takedowns?
has 3. I think I had 3 takedowns main.
Yeah.
So it was fairly okay. Like I think he played Falcon once at turn 3, got to hit,
Yeah.
and I started. He paid for Falcon, and then I take down.
Yeah.
And that sacks his round a bit.
Yeah.
So maybe like I think he had not played that matchup a lot, and I had not played that matchup a lot. So probably we both approached it somewhat wrong.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes. So if we would play 10 games, it might not be 100% my victory.
Yeah.
But didn't make that much difference. It meant that I won the Swiss and he got second. So we ended up in different brackets. That was also the player. His name Gustav from the Göteborg community.
Yeah.
Is the guy who knocked out Fun Daddy, by the way, in a 2-0 smash. Game 2
In the top 8.
Yeah, in the top 8. I think the
Nice.
game 2 he ended him on Sabine round, which is kind of nice. Flipped Sabine and ended Jason.
What?
Yeah, that they can kill
On
kill
turn
20.
3?
Yeah, that they can kill something.
That's
kill 25
crazy.
HP bases on turn 3, which is
Yeah.
If he doesn't get answered and someone just goes face and he
Yeah.
ignores it, he can just slam it with like a sneak attack and stuff on that 4 resource round.
Yeah.
Which is
Crazy.
pretty bonkers. Yeah, that's crazy. Let's see. So yeah, my top 8 was against Tarkin Green. So it was double green.
Ooh.
Tarkin. Was
Interesting.
Johan, store owner. That was not close. Tarkin Green had like no answers to anything Krennic did and could not pressure. Like he wants to put experience tokens, and I just remove all the units. So
yeah, and he has nothing against your big cards, right? As soon as you get
nothing.
Avengers, Walkers.
So it was just like a slow death
Yeah.
for him. There was like I needed to draw like ultimate garbage, and so he could get a board state for him to have a chance, but that did not
Yeah.
really happen. So that was a quick 2-0. So we had to wait a while for the Vaders to play, because there was like on stream it was Vader Blue against Vader Green.
Ooh, yeah.
And of course the Vader Green won, and I faced him in the semifinals, the same guy that I drew.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick, those games. Game 1 I triple ramped and he did not.
Damn. Yeah.
So I like got to the late game so fast so I could like run him.
Yeah.
Game 2 he triple ramped me and won, because I only
Yeah.
got one. And then in game 3 I think we both triple ramped or something. It was just ramp fest all the way. And
Yeah.
that was the game where I was like, I resourced early and I was like, I saw all my ramp cards. I was like, I'm just ramping this game because I have no of the big drops. And I just kept not resourcing the big drops. And I had like sideboarded in, like, so I had like, I think 3 Avengers, 3 Walkers, 2 or 3 Relentless, and the Vaders. And I couldn't hit them. I found 1 Devastator and 1 Walker, I think, all game. And when the game ended, I had like the last 10 cards in my deck was all of those big hits. Everything was clumped together.
Yeah.
I even like played a Vader, like, and I was like, oh, this is gonna take all my bad cards to the bottom.
Yeah.
And in those 10 cards, there was none. I was like, "Who? I'm lucky. I'm gonna find these," and I still couldn't reach them. I was like, what? So I had to like, I did make a huge misplay. That is on stream. I thought I could just end his Ruthless Raider with my Devastator, but it was already damaged a little bit. And then, of course, the Ruthless Raider does 2 damage when he dies. So those I did not account for those 2 damage because I played too fast. We were already like basically on time, so I was a little bit stressed. Even though there was no time limits, I shouldn't have been. So I didn't thought it through. I could have played Vigilance, then milled him and put a shield on the Devastator. But I was in my head, I was thinking, kill the Ruthless Raider, so I have the Devastator left, so he can play his Devastator to kill mine. So I then could play like next turn or something Avenger and kill his. Obviously, I didn't even draw into an Avenger, so that would not have helped. But I had a Vanquish like as a backup. So like that was crazy. Unfortunately, like the Avenger came the round, it was too late to save anything. Like I had like 5 or 6 rounds. I could have like drawn it since we were triple ramped. So that was sad, but he went and won the final against Green Han. So I guess that was something.
Nice. Yeah. Do you think you learned anything from all of the games against Vader Green? Like, how do you beat that deck?
The ramp was very important. Regional Governor was really important. Like blocking either Super Laser Technician or Resupply. You can take your pick, I guess. I prefer to say Resupply. But because at least it delays the Technician an extra round. And like, at least in the Krennic matchup, it was just like to go long. Like either try to go mill, depending on like how slow he got. But he had so much gas, so I don't think like full mill was optional.
He didn't have enough removal, right?
No, like exactly, like especially when he had like 3 Relentless. Like sometimes I needed 2 removal cards just to remove the Relentless. So I think like it felt like for Krennic, like at least his version was kind of hard because I cannot threat lethal because he played 30 base, HP base, which I think most Vader Green does now, right?
Yes,
because
in the beginning
it was
really popular with the
easy,
super ramp.
Just get to Vader so fast thing. Now they understand it's not that important.
It's more of a slow burner. I wouldn't say I'm surprised that Han lost to Vader. I feel like that is one of the harder matchups for Han.
Yep.
I mean, Han has a rep for having no bad matchups, right? But
Yeah.
Palpatine and Vader, I would say, are both not that easy.
Yeah. I would say even like maybe sometimes a Shirut deck could be rough.
Yeah,
Like
if they
because leaders are rough, right?
yes, if they upgrade it, if
Yeah.
you get like a Jedi lightsaber and they force throw you, so you maybe don't get to
Yeah.
play your U-wing or whatever, then it can be really hard to recover from that.
Because the only thing you have against like heavy leader focus deck is like Leia, right?
Yeah.
Or like Sentinels to block and stuff and
Yeah.
go wide and like spread around them.
Yeah, I've played quite a lot into Chirrut.
Yeah.
Not recently because he's tanked in popularity, but earlier.
Yeah.
And then I felt like it was all about just trying to get as much as possible onto the ground arena.
Yeah.
So you somehow could deal with Chirrut.
Yeah,
Because
you
if
just
you just
need to
ignore
kill
him.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like if you don't, like you're gonna have him and Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
at the same time.
Oh, as soon as the Luke drops,
Yeah.
then it's sort of super rough.
But yeah, like so, Vader being rough for Han is not that strange.
Yeah.
The only thing, like the Han, like because Vader is like the most, I think he's the most powerful unit when he hits the board, right? I don't think we have like a more powerful leader, like in himself.
Arguably, yes. Yeah.
Like Palpatine, if he steals an Avenger, is of course harder, but it's not Palpatine himself when he's standing there.
Yeah.
So Vader Green is pretty good. Han Green still good. Fun part with that was like both these guys who went to the final would not have made, like if there was like a hardcore tournament, it was just only going to be a top 4 usually on these few players. None of them would have reached the playoff. So because it was more the casual take, they got the chance, and that's like, I think that is good for the store showdowns at least.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel like the casual part with the store showdowns should be run more than the maybe the best of ones or the draft experience that we talked about last time. But like being an including top cut, I think that is like should be a main goal for future sets. Maybe when Asmodee and FFG gives a little bit more heads up to the stores when they are going to get their kits.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so congrats to Jonathan, was it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. He won, and we'll see. Both me and Matthias is going on another store champ next weekend in Västerås on Saturday. I am actually doing another 3 store champ trip. I'm doing Uppsala Wednesday, Västerås Saturday, Stockholm Sunday. So
nice.
It's gonna be interesting.
Exciting to hear the results.
Yeah, we'll see if I bring Krennic on all of them. Yeah. So I have 4 Boba events and 4 Krennic events, and see if they which one perform the best. Yeah. I'm not sure what I'm bringing on Uppsala and Stockholm yet, because both those are best of ones. So it's like it's a quite different compared to best of 3. So we'll see.
From your experiences now competing with Boba and Krennic, which deck do you think is most fun?
Ooh, most fun? I kind of like, I think Boba's slightly funnier.
Yeah.
But
a little bit more aggressive. Right?
Yeah, I like to play more aggressive. Like in most card games, I like to play the maybe aggressive mid-range. Or maybe, like, I definitely want to play mid-range, and Krennic is like on the cups between mid-range and control.
Yeah, I would say he's like soft control.
Yeah, so I usually tend more to like the mid-range decks, and like I definitely prefer aggro to control. In general, like, because I like playing more games mostly.
I get that. Yeah,
but Krennic is actually really fun, and I like played him a lot when the when the set released. Like that was the first deck I built,
Nice.
like before I jumped into Boba. So
Yeah.
I've
Nice
enjoyed
coming
both.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These new builds are a lot more funnier than this initial Krennic builds as well.
Yeah. And to listeners, if you want to hear about Adam's results live as they happen, join the Discord. There's a tournament reports channel. So
Yes, you should join the
probably gonna
Nordic
post
Takedown
that.
Discord. Yeah,
Yeah.
which will be linked here. And as Jonah started here, now we start plugging the other things. The YouTube channel that I think has one video out.
Oh, it does.
Yes, it has. It is more of an in-depth on my last road show with the 3 tournaments, or if it was 4, I can't remember, 3 or 4. And then that's it. It will come more content. We are still working a little bit on the logo. Like we want to have also good opening things in the intros and stuff to the videos. So it's gonna come more stuff. But follow that channel, and then of course also like us on Patreon. I was gonna say, but that's not the subscribe on Patreon. Or if you like the content, basically. And then also a lot of alsos here, but you can also again, let's go like and rate us the podcast on Spotify, for example.
Yes,
because that will widen our range to other Star Wars listeners that might not have picked up on this podcast.
Yes.
So that was the end of commercials, basically.
Are we moving on to the new spoilers?
Very soon, very soon. First, we have to do what we haven't done to Matthias yet, and we will. But you are going to have to tell the world about your favorite Star Wars character.
No, I should.
Which I heard was Jar Jar Binks.
No, Misa, no, okay, I'm not gonna do the impression. Favorite Star Wars character. Okay, so for context, I'm born in the year 2000.
That's a start of defending yourself for choosing a prequel favorite.
No. I mean, in this day and age, everybody loves the prequels.
That's
right?
true. I read that the Phantom Menace is the most streamed Star Wars movie on Disney Plus.
Damn. Yeah. It had its 25-year anniversary this year, so maybe got a lot of publicity.
True.
Yeah, but of course, I grew up with the prequels, and I love the Clone Wars era. I've seen all of the shows.
Those are great.
Seen Rebels, seen the new shows, everything. So I think growing up, my favorite character was definitely Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
Him being the good guy, cool, defeating Grievous and all.
And he has this kind of nice charisma.
He's
kind of what would you say, smug?
Yeah. You know that scene where they come back to Coruscant and he's leaning against the door and it's
you've deserved this day with the politicians.
Go and have your fun. Politics is not for me. It's so smug. So okay, Obi-Wan is the boring answer.
Yep.
But then you might have noticed if you're in the Nordic Takedown Discord that my profile picture is a Rodian.
Yes.
So a couple of years back, my username or my gamer tag was Greedo.
Ooh.
And I like the appearance of Rodians. I think they're really cool. I used to play as a Rodian in Star Wars Battlefront.
You play that game, all right, yeah.
So yeah.
Did you choose Greedo because you always got killed first on Battlefront? Or...
No comments.
No comments. Yeah, no. You were great. That's why you're playing a card game now with 0 reflex things.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Obi-Wan and Greedo, yeah. That's cool. I think it's respectable. Jason came up with all his droids, and I think it was Anakin Skywalker and Rey. So nice. I think we have a with here. We'll see what Matthias says. All right. now we have kept people waiting long enough. We are gonna I was gonna say end the podcast, but the last segment is gonna be spoilers because it's been so many. We're not gonna go through every single one, most likely, but we are gonna dive into a couple of them.
Yes.
So, would you like to start off with something, Jonah?
Yeah.
Or Guido? That's what we're gonna call you, Guido.
As Adam mentioned, I think there's been 18 spoilers, so a lot of cards to pick, and there's a lot of good yellow ones. So let's start with those, maybe.
Yeah.
In heroism, we have Kira.
Yes.
She's a 4-cost 3/5. When played, look at an opponent's hand, then name a card. While this unit is in play, each card with that name costs 3 more for your opponents to play.
Yeah. She looks real strong.
Yes. Okay, so 4-cost 3/5, not the best stats, right?
Not too OP, but like the HP is respectable to like.
Yeah.
Well, she still gets taken down by a takedown, but that's 4 for 4, so not.
Yeah, exactly.
Disaster.
And the important thing here is to see that it's a when played effect, right? So even if she dies. No, it's while this unit is in play.
Yeah.
Never mind.
It is a when played, but it's still it gets.
Yeah, it's a when played that applies like a static effect. So it's not a static effect on the card, but it's equivalent. Yeah, so the reason I think this card is super interesting is because hard control has become so popular, right?
Yeah, it's growing and growing, and like it looks like it's getting more tools as well. So
yeah, and I think it's gonna stay for set 2.
Unfortunately,
especially with Boba still being strong and hard control kind of being a pretty good answer into him.
It's decent. It's definitely like good, pretty good into it.
Yeah. So we've seen regional governor, for instance, becoming very popular, where you can name a card. Your
Love
opponent
that card.
doesn't get to play it. Yeah, a bit too much. And Kira is basically a new version of this, right?
Yes.
It's a bit different because they can still play it, just pay 3 more.
Yeah, and she's unique, so you can't have multiple.
That's also true. But you get the upside that you get to look at their hand first.
Yeah, so you can actually target something. I think she's gonna be like for these mid-range decks. She's gonna be like really good, like to mess up that turn 4 round, or like if you do a 4 player on 5 or 6 as well, like take out the only answer to make the control player play nothing for a round when you like get to 3 hits, and then they have to start answering like the 3 threats you have on the board instead.
Yeah, and like I think the 3 more is more than enough. Like if it was only 1 more, it wouldn't be as good.
No,
because then, for instance, if you target a super laser blast, they just wait a turn and then they blast.
Yeah.
But now, since it's 3 more, they basically have to deal with Kira if they really want to play that card.
Yeah, and like if we take the control cards right now, like you play her and you're afraid of the only removal he has like is Power of the Dark Side. You just say Power of the Dark Side, and then his round is over. Same with Takedown or Vanquish and stuff like that.
So maybe it would be good in Ewing decks to get in and just name Super Laser Blast, for instance, so you can't get wiped.
Yeah, she fits pretty well into Green Han.
Yeah,
I would say maybe even Blue Han as well, right? Depending on.
Yeah. Okay.
Any Han. Yeah.
We should probably move on, right?
She's great. She's a rare as well, so she's not gonna be. If she was a legendary, she would definitely be like a contender for being very expensive.
Yeah.
Should we move on to a new adventure?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe the most talked about card.
Yep. It says return a non-leader unit that costs 6 or less to its owner's hand. Then its owner may play it for free. It's a 2-cost and a double yellow. So it's cunning.
Yeah. So first of all,
congratulations to Boba Yellow players.
Yeah. Like double cunning. I mean, it kind of makes the card even better, right? Because it's super cheap. It's just 2.
Yeah.
But you could say, okay, you're gonna pay 4 for it often since you're not playing double yellow. But for the double
Yeah. Yeah.
cunning deck, then it's just so good.
Yeah, and I feel like the double yellow deck is really good still already,
Yeah.
but they have some cards that are in there to fill the spots,
Yes.
so it's not gonna be hard to actually add this
Make
to the
space
deck.
for it. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be like very easy to slot it in,
Yeah.
and that
And
is a bit scary.
the crazy part about the card is that the only condition you have to meet is the cost being
Yeah.
6 or less. But you can use it on your opponent's cards,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't sound that good. But there can be many use cases for it where it's good.
Yeah, it like could stop, like if it's just a normal unit that costs like 5, that is just blocking you, like or threatening to kill a unit, you just bounce it and like, all right, you can play it for
Comes
free.
inexhausted.
Yeah, but I still can hit your base for the 7 I have
Yeah.
out, for example.
One thing that I'm not 100% sure of, but I'm pretty sure, like the second part, then its owner may play it for free.
Yeah.
That's within the same action, right? So that's resolving the effect of the card.
Yeah, I think so.
So you play the card, bounce something, and then they immediately have to choose if they want to play it back for free.
Yeah, which they
and
the
not
opponent
spending an
probably
action
will.
on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So sometimes it can be good. Sometimes most times in the yellow boba you're gonna want to play it on your fire spray.
Yeah.
Obviously, because that one
Basically
comes
just to
standing.
ready it.
Yeah, it's basically ready to fire spray for 2.
Yeah.
That is
And
really
it's
scary.
very nice to get repeated when played effects as well.
Yeah. So that's an amazing card, uncommon. So it's not gonna be expensive for people to find.
That's great. Okay.
Another yellow. Let's go on the little bit like the disruption theme and go into Basin Netal. She is when played, look at an opponent's hand. You may discard one of those cards. If you do, that player draws a card. She's a 1/3 and costs 2. Cunning villain.
Yeah. So again, nice for boba.
Yeah.
I mean, Spark of Rebellion has proved itself as an amazing card, right? Being able to look at your opponent's hand and take out the best card. Here with Bazine, they then get to draw a card, but still, you're removing your opponent's best play.
Yeah.
And you even get a nice unit on the board.
Yeah, like they can tank some sort of removals and stuff.
Yeah.
So like she's definitely good. It's like a villain version of Mon Mothma in a different way, like the 1/3 body that's just annoying for people to deal with. You could argue that the Basin is like slightly better because it's not conditional. You just look and take the best card out.
It always works.
It always works. But she's unique, so you might not run 3 of her because but potentially you will as well because she is still pretty good in the end game as well.
Yes, and worth mentioning, she also has Smuggle.
Yep.
For the normal up cost of 2 more, so Smuggle for 4.
Yeah, which could be crucial in the like late game when mid-range decks sometimes are like out of cards anyway. To like, all right, I'll take your best card. So now we're even basically.
Yep. Okay, we have 2 more pretty cool cunning villainy cards.
All right, which one do you want to go next?
Let's do the complicated one. Triple Dark Raid.
Yes.
So it's an event, the tactic trait.
Yep.
Search the top 7 cards of your deck for a vehicle and play it. Put the other cards on the bottom. It costs 5 less and enters play ready. But at the end of the return it to its owner's hand at the end of the phase. Yeah. So it's I just thought for a second. Yeah. It's always going to be like it says to its owner, but it's always going to be you. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way you can.
I don't think so. Yeah. You are the owner, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is a tempo play for sure. It's now it's starting to become like viable to potentially play vehicle decks, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because you need to stack the deck with some vehicles because it doesn't have the U-wing thing with top 10 cards. It's just 7.
Yes. So that's one thing to note. Also, that like Ewing gets to play things for free.
Yeah.
But here it costs 5 less. So you should make sure that you have enough resources to play the cards that you want to play.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm feeling it could, like, this one would work pretty well in Thrawn if he played vehicles, because he can look at his own deck and see the first one at least.
yeah. So you could guarantee something.
Yeah.
I think also would be nice, as you said, in a control deck where you can get Avenger.
Yeah.
Because Avenger has a when played and on attack effect, right?
Yes.
So you will get to get both of those, and then at the end of the phase, it will get bounced.
And then you have an Avenger for like turn 9.
Nice.
Like everyone just knows, okay, I need to have more than 2 units, otherwise the game is over.
Yeah.
It's like puts a clock on the entire board.
Yeah.
So
it seems really nice.
It's really nice with when play effects, as you said.
Yeah. One thing that I'm really happy about is that it's not that great with Fire Spray.
Because it's already comes in ready, yeah. It's actually kind of bad, right, with Fire Spray?
Because it gets bounced.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's still good because Fire Spray is an amazing card, right? So if it gets bounced, you can play it again. It enters ready if you play Boba.
Yeah.
But it's not like the synergy could have been better if it was like it didn't enter ready, but it cost 6 less.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Then it would be crazy.
But it feels like they kind of know that the Fire Spray is good in Boba, so they don't have to give it even more love.
It's going to be interesting if we're ever going to see this in Boba. Like if there's a version that plays enough vehicles. Right now, I would guess not, but it's
probably not.
Very hard to tell without seeing the whole.
Yeah, because you want to have like more expensive vehicles, right? 5+ vehicles, because the 7 Fleet Defender is not helped by this. Since it costs 3 anyway, and then it would have stayed on board.
Yeah.
But maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Should we do the last one?
Yes. Which one is that? Is it Dryden Voss?
That's a legendary.
Yeah, we have to touch the legendary, of course.
Yeah.
Dryden Voss, more Underworld, by the way. Most of the cards we have said is Underworld by these of the characters, at least. He's a 7-cost legendary, 5/7, so kind of Vader stats. He comes shielded instead of ambush, and has a when played effect that is choose a captured card guarded by a unit you control. You may play it for free under your control. So for me, like, because I don't really know anything about the capture stuff like yet, so he either sounds like amazing or garbage.
Yeah, I think he can be good, but it depends if we're gonna see more great capture cards, because right now we've gotten some which are, I would say, nice, and some which are okay. For instance, there's a card called Relentless Pursuit that lets you capture a non-leader that costs the same or less, and if the unit capturing is a bounty hunter, you get a shield. That one looks really, really good to me in the Boba decks, right? Because if you have Boba out and you give him a shield, it's going to be very hard to remove. And the capturing effect, right? So you're getting tempo as well. And then Dryden. Dryden is interesting because he kind of gives you a payout to playing capture effects.
Yes.
Being able to play your opponent's card.
That's pretty
for
cool.
Free.
For free, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm not sure how the capture works, but like, imagine you're captured like something big.
Yes.
And he just like, hello, Walker, let's come to me.
Yeah. The thing is, right now, the capturing has some conditions.
Yeah.
But I think there are 2 cards, Discerning Veteran and Take Captive, which both just say enemy unit in the same arena. So there you could use a very cheap card
Yeah.
capture a big unit, and then play Dryden Voss and
And
play
win the
that big
game.
unit for yourself.
Yeah, and just win the game.
Yeah.
Usually.
So that's gonna be very interesting to see if there are. This might enable like some combos, but
Yeah, like he is. It's likely that he's bad. I feel like,
yeah,
but he could also be broken. But it's guaranteed that sometime when you play, you're gonna get super fucked by it.
yes, it's much more. It requires much more, but it has a higher payout.
Yeah,
You could compare it to Vader, like seven cost 5/7. This has shielded instead of ambush, which is a little bit worse.
yeah,
But the when played effect can be really nice.
yeah. Like if some people are gonna get surprised about this in a tournament and lose a Swiss game for sure because someone has built a Dryden Voss deck and people's like he's bad, and then like I got completely stomped and missed the
Yeah.
top cut. So that person is gonna be me, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
I guess should move on to the red cards, right?
Yeah.
Should we start with continue on the legendary train? Because
Yes.
I am really excited about the Poe Dameron.
Yeah.
Well, I think he looks really good. I'm not sure. I haven't played that much red, white
Yes.
rebels, so
Yep.
maybe it's not going to be me playing it. But I think he's really, really good. I think he might
Yes.
be the best legendary dropped so far.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, so a lot of text here as well, but he's a 5 cost ground unit, obviously. Red, white, as I said. But he's 6/6 in stat line for 5.
That's really good.
So he just dodges uh, like takedowns and not vanquish, of course, because nobody does that.
There's not that much with 6 power
Yeah.
that early in the game.
So he comes in early. He doesn't have anything like when he drops. So that could be his drawback, but
Yeah.
yes, on attack, discard up to 3 cards from your hand. For each card discarded this way, choose some different option. Deal 2 damage to a unit or a base, or defeat an upgrade, or an opponent discards a card from their hand.
Okay, so
very
very
flexible.
versatile. Yeah.
Cool that we are
think-
using different dictionaries there.
As you said, since he doesn't have when played, I think he's gonna be amazing in energy conversion lab decks.
Yes, I think that's where you want to play him.
Yeah. And now we have the new card as well, Timely Intervention, I think it's called. That's an event which lets you play a unit with ambush. So basically, ECL on a stick.
That's scary. I have not seen that one yet. That's cool.
Yeah, let me see. I think it's a 1-cost event that also has smuggle.
That's
and the smuggle
disgusting.
cost is only 2.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
nasty.
if you have 7 resources, you can smuggle Timely Intervention and then ambush with Poe. And I think the reason, in my opinion, that Poe is so great is if you just compare it to Steadfast Battalion.
Yeah.
Like Steadfast is so good when you get to
ECL it.
ambush with 7 power, right?
Yeah.
And Poe also works in the same way with ECL, but you don't need your leader out.
Yeah, you don't need leader, and he does basically 8 if you want to.
Yeah, because you can do 6, and then if you discard a card, deal 2 more. And
but that's true. I had not really thought about it like in that way, like that he doesn't need a leader out.
Yeah.
Like, so you can just play him, and he's always going to be a threat. For example, to let's take our broken hero Han. Like,
Yeah.
if you have EZL and have Poe, you can always threaten Han. Han
Yes.
can't really do anything unless he plays Spark of Rebellion first.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't do his big play anyway, so it's kind of okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Poe looks super nice. I mean, right now, green, red. That sounds like a good color combination, right?
I
With
think I've seen it
Sabine,
before. Yeah.
Leia. And I think this could be interesting in Cassian.
Yep.
Because Cassian gives you cards, and this gives you synergy from discarding cards.
Yeah. If
So
Cassian
Cassian greens could be nice.
If Cassian was viable, or he could be viable because of this, but it's more likely I feel like the Poe gives Leia and Sabine like even more like late game push, you know, like an extra.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to, for example, you don't have to run battalion if you have Poe in a way, and then
Yeah.
you don't run the extra chance to miss, you know,
Yeah.
on for a
You have to
cost.
think about discarding cards though.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the downside to Poe compared to
Yes.
Battalion. You actually need cards in your hand to
True.
use the abilities, but
And
it
that's why
still
he's
seems like a
actually
very
like
nice card.
pretty like he's the kind of designed about around the black one, right? That comes the round
Yeah.
after and just draws
Yeah.
3 new cards, which is
Which is cool.
yeah. And you already play black one in yellow Sabine, so
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah, I
maybe yellow
guess. Yeah.
Sabine is the where Poe
Yeah.
ends up. Who knows?
But there's no ambush.
Yeah,
And I feel like then it's suddenly a lot weaker.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot weaker.
Okay, I think we should probably speed up a bit for
Yes.
these next cards.
Let's give in to our anger and look at give in to your anger. No. Deal 1 damage to an enemy unit. Its controller's next action this phase must be an attack action with that unit if able. It must attack a unit if able. This is kind of nice.
Yeah, I think this card is my favorite when it comes to the theme.
Yeah.
It's so nice, like the title, the art, the game interaction is so cool. Like you just provoke an enemy unit, right, by just
Yeah.
dealing one bit of damage, but then you're forcing that unit to attack you,
Yeah.
and also spending their action. So you basically get to do two things back to back, right?
Kind of, because you do this, but yeah. You might be like what you're gonna do is like forcing a bad trade, I feel like, for the
Yeah.
opponent. Like I have the better unit but I need to remove yours first or something like that. So just
Yeah.
hello, hit me. This one is awesome if you have Super Laser Technician out, like
Yeah.
only him, and like, hey, hit me, kill me. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I like that it's like it doesn't cancel out the opponent completely because it says if able on the things. So
Yeah,
it's not
but
like
you're mostly going to play it when
Yeah.
they are able.
yeah, for sure. But if they weren't
Yeah.
able, it's not like they have to pass and like you can
Yeah.
claim or take the initiative and just end it. So
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We just both like that
Yeah.
card.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think we should move to a leader that we
Yeah.
both have discussed a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Ray
Yeah.
because I like Ray in every way, but I'm not quite convinced that she's so good here. Can you convince me that Ray is like a really good hero?
I'll do my best. So Ray is a 2/6 that deploys on 6.
Yep.
So when you hear that, doesn't sound that good, right?
Nope, it does not.
But
Like,
she
what a weak
has
lurk.
Restore 3.
Yep.
And on attack, you may give an experience token to a unit with 2 or less power.
Yes.
And the flip side is the same mechanic, but it's an action that costs 1 resource and a exhaust. So it's kind of similar to Tarkin, that you can give experience to units, but instead of them having to be Imperial, they have to have 2 or less power.
Yes.
Hmm.
So you can basically then choose like any 2 power instead of like being limited to a trait, but you're limited to a
Yeah.
cost. And she can buff herself the first time, which you will probably do. So
Yeah.
she's like a 3/7 basically
Essentially, yeah.
with Restore 3.
Yeah.
Like-
Okay, so first of all, Restore 3, amazing against aggro, right?
Yes, unless she hits the table too late. But yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing for 6.
But if she comes out in time, if the aggro hasn't really punched it and is looking for a cause to end you, then
Yeah.
the Restore 3 can be like completely amazing.
Yeah. Right now, the way I've looked at Rey is that she's basically an inferior Luke.
Yeah.
Think of the green-blue deck where you just give shields to everything. Now you're gonna have essentially the same deck, but giving experience.
Yeah. And I feel like experience are worse because you have like waylays and stuff in the game.
Yeah, and I mean it depends. Some units really benefit from the experience.
Yep.
I think there are maybe the one of the best cards that has actually been spoiled might be the best in Ray as well, and that's Sundari Peacekeeper.
True,
It's
true,
a
true.
green heroism 3 cost, which is a 1/5. So 1/5 means you can basically buff
Hurt
him
him twice, yeah.
twice.
Assuming Ray
But
stays alive, but yeah.
yeah, but you can just use the normal action, right?
True first and then flip
Paying a
and then yeah.
resource. Yeah, and Sundari Peacekeeper has Raid 2 and Restore 2.
Yep.
So if you play this
If
on
that
turn
one
3,
gets to stay on the board, that's pretty
yeah,
nasty.
that's gonna be so good. And like there are many cards that you can buff once or twice.
Yep.
Another good play is the new Clone Deserter, which is a 1 cost.
Yep.
2/3. So you play it turn 1. You have 1 resource left, and you make it from a 2/3 to a 3/4.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And that's amazing. Like a 3/4 kills anything
Yeah.
and survives.
Yeah, I think she also works pretty good with Rose.
Yeah.
That comes out like a 2/6 shield, and on attack gives 2 experience tokens to that unit, or like
Yeah.
to a friendly unit. Like
Yeah.
she could, if they like arrive on the same turn for some reason, like you just buff Rose first, and then Rose is Ray first, and then Rose buffs Rays, and then next turn they can do the same to each other. You know, make themselves like 2 insane threats.
Yeah, the thing is, you can't really repeat it, right? Because Rose needs to remove a shield,
No, is that what she needs to
isn't
do?
it?
Yeah,
I think
that's
so.
true. That's true. So you can't do
Yeah.
it on Ark, yeah.
But you can, I mean, you can do it once and you'll
yeah.
essentially have a 5/9.
5/9 Rose for.
That's pretty crazy. That's bigger than a Vader.
Yeah, that's pretty big. So like, there are some things you can do with her, but I think she's gonna be amazing in draft, though. That's where she's gonna shine. Like,
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say about her. She's probably like gonna be the biggest draft hero. Like
Yeah.
in pre-release, if you want to win that, I think you should go for a.
We'll see as more cards
if you
get
can.
released. But I hope we're gonna see more cards that are clear. Like, okay, this is a card for Ray.
Yeah,
if you know what I
me
mean.
too. Yeah, I'm thinking and feeling that it's gonna be a legendary blue card. That's gonna be Ahsoka Tano.
Ooh.
That's my feeling.
Yeah.
And they better make her broken. Like if you're gonna make anything broken, you better make her broken.
Oh, Ahsoka actually. Ahsoka is such a great contender for our favorite Star Wars.
Yeah, for me as well. She's amazing. Like, definitely the best things that has come out of the what would you say, all the animated series.
Yeah.
And there has been a lot of good things with the animated series, so that is no
okay.
shot at that.
Should we move on to the last leader that has been spoiled since last week?
Yeah, we will end with the last leader, the most complicated shit I've ever read.
Kira. Okay, so we have the unit Kira, and now we have a leader Kira.
In different colors, just like the Vaders have been, for example.
So it's blue villainy.
Yep.
And
this is very different, though, because the other Kira is hero cunning. So one is hero Kira and the other one is villain Kira.
Oh, yeah, that's because she turns in the movie, right?
Yeah.
She
turns to Darth Maul.
Oh, I'm so excited to see Maul as well. Okay, let's not theorize too much about that.
He's definitely coming. I think he's a legendary as well. Yeah. Red legendary. Or blue, I mean.
Should I read the action?
Yeah, go for it.
So Kira's action is pay a resource and exhaust her to deal 2 damage to a friendly unit, then give a shield token to it.
Yes. So she damages it and shields it afterwards, yeah.
I think this is pretty interesting.
Yeah, like sometimes you're gonna do nice trades because of the shield.
And like this kind of reminds me of Grand Inquisitor, right? You deal 2 damage to something and you ready it.
Yes.
But readying it is immediate value. You get to attack again. But giving a shield is kind of more like a longer value because you maybe get a free trade. And this doesn't require the card you're dealing damage to be any specific cost, while GI has to be
3 or less.
power 3 or less.
Because the GI is clearly like aggro. I think this one is clearly mid range, right? You want to build a shield, and then you would start taking out the opponents and have like multiple threats on the board, but not like start immediately to hit the base, basically.
So just like with Ray, this is a really good synergy with one of the new 1 costs, Hylobon Enforcer, which is a 1/4 grit.
Yeah.
So imagine you play that, and then you use Kira to make Hylobon Enforcer into a 3/2 shielded.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Pretty good.
Sounds pretty good. And she comes out at 5, right? And she's a 0/8 with grit.
0/8?
Yeah, 0/8 with grit. And then when she deploys, heal all damage from each unit, then deal damage to each unit equal to half its remaining HP rounded down.
Okay, so basically you're putting every unit on the board to half HP.
Yeah.
And let's say it's 3 HP, then it only takes 1 damage.
Yes. Yeah.
Because the damage you're dealing is rounded down.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously it's supposed to work with grit, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, when you're dealing damage to everything, they become more vulnerable.
Yes. But even the opponents, though. So
that's true.
But since she feels like her ability is already to control the board, it feels like she's gonna damage her own units more. But they have shields, mostly, maybe some of them. So I don't know.
Yeah, and then they don't take any damage.
Yeah,
they just lose the shields. But the thing is, I think you're onto something here where you have many units.
Yeah.
Let's say you have 3 units with grit.
Yeah.
And your opponent has like 1 big unit.
Yeah.
And then dealing half damage to that big unit is going to be really good for you.
True.
And applying grit to all of your smaller units is going to be really good for you.
Yeah.
So that might be like the best use case for it. The thing I don't like about Kira is that she also deals the damage to herself.
Yeah.
So instead of having 8 health, she essentially deploys as a 4/4. That is pretty...
Oh, yeah, because, so that's why she's a 4/4, yeah.
Yeah, so she's kind of vulnerable, right? You deploy her, and then
take down
anything your opponent has on 5 resources can kill her.
Yeah.
But as we've seen with Chewbacca, upgrades are really nice with
these grit units.
With grit,
yeah. Because there is not much that removes leader.
Yeah.
So you will definitely play some upgrades.
Yeah. So maybe the angle is going to be to play Kira when you know your opponent can't immediatally kill it. So you don't necessarily deploy her immediately, but you wait until you can maybe play Resilient. The staff, the 2/2 plus 2/2.
Yeah, the Electro Staff, right?
Electro Staff, yeah. Try to
maybe like Vambrace, Grapple Shot, just anything that puts her over 5 HP. I think is important. I think both her and Ray are like going to be mid-rangey, and we'll see which one. I think Kira has slightly more potential than Ray.
I agree.
But they both might be mid and not like compete. Kira needs to like kick out Krennic. That's her spot, basically.
Yeah.
Ray has an easier spot to kick out Luke, I feel like, but it's harder to kick out Chirrut for her.
And I think, like, imagine the Ewing Home 1 green-blue deck that you would play with Luke and Ray.
Yeah.
You can also play that with Chewbacca.
Yeah.
And that might be more impactful, just getting that huge Sentinel on the board rather than getting the Restore 3.
True.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We will see.
Now we've gone long, 1 hour and 10 minutes. Definitely what we planned. Uh, we were not talking about 40 minutes before, but this has been great. Do you have any final words before?
Yes, join the Discord because we have set up the spoilers channel to automatically get the new cards posted.
Yeah.
So every time a new card is dropped, we're gonna jump in and write some thoughts and chat with you guys, and that's always super fun.
Yeah, and as you've heard, Jonah has a lot of free time, so he's going to be responding very quickly.
Yes, immediately.
So
Always misreading the cards
Yeah.
and saying, "Oh, this is so good," when it's actually not that good.
yeah, and just saying things are real bad, and it's like, no, it's great, man. It costs 1, not 4. But yeah, so I guess beware of Kira. That's what we're gonna say, and see
Yeah.
you next week, right?
Yeah.
And may the force be with you all.
May the force be with you.